back. How did everything pull up after your return for the Bay?
Yeah, it's the body's good. The cheekbone came through. It's still in one piece. So yeah, it's exciting. It was 10 years since I last played for Hawke's Bay, so it was awesome to get back and represent the region. And sure beats running up down the sideline by myself, being back in the team environment with them, and then back in here. So I'm happy to be back.
Was it a quicker recovery than you'd initially thought? Did things go a little smoother than first thought?
Initially they said 6 weeks post-surgery, and 6 weeks was on Sunday, so sort of asked the question, is there much difference between Saturday afternoon and Sunday morning or Monday, and the surgeon was happy for it to happen. So hence why it's kind of, maybe a weekend before initially thought, but he was happy.
And would you be right to play on Saturday, or are you a kind of day-by-day decision? How's that?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what the plan is as of yet, but yeah, I guess I got through 55 odd minutes on Saturday, and the body's come through good. Whether that's enough for the coaches to now pick me in here or go back to Hawke's Bay, I'm not sure yet, but we'll see how that goes with the week.
Seeing what unfolded on Saturday, does that make you hungrier to get back in and try and influence this team as you've done so many times? Yeah,
definitely. I think it's I've had a bit of a run on them, but any time you're on the sideline with an injury is always frustrating when you would much rather be out there. I thought there's been some massive strides from the forward pack over the last few weeks, and for quite a few periods in the weekend they got it right. But I would love to be out there.
Where did you take in the game, Brodie, afterwards? How were you watching it?
Yeah, it was actually the Magpies played a afternoon game, which was quite nice, a 2 o'clock kickoff. So they were sitting around watching the test match with those boys, which was quite exciting, and just being a fanboy really.
But I mean, it probably went well for first half, and then what was it sort of like watching from afar, in those last few minutes when it sort of turned a bit ugly?
Yeah, obviously you feel for the boys, like no one wants to lose and no one enjoys it. And like I said, there was periods there that I thought they dominated up front and have made big strides around the ruck, and like I say, didn't quite execute it right. But that's the challenge of Test rugby. It's always those fine margins that you need to nail at crucial times, and it didn't happen. But we've just had the review, and it's obviously been talked about, and that's where we need to tidy things up.
What could they, in terms of the review and that, the line-out obviously malfunctioned towards the end a couple of times. What can you sort of put that down to?
I think obviously maybe a couple of where the throw win obviously was not straight, but that's Test footy and pressure, so that's what we're here to do, is represent the country and nail those moments. So Cody's a highly experienced player, and he's obviously hurting from that, but it's not just his responsibility to get that right. So like I say, we've looked at it this morning, and obviously being back in here, so we need to get it right moving forward.
Do you get a sense, you would have watched the last few Test matches, obviously being away with injury and that, do you get a sense when it's not going to go right, it's not going to go the guy's way in terms of the result? Can you tell sort of earlier on, having been in the team for so long and watching it unfold, or?
No, not at all. I'm not there. I don't feel like what we see on TV and what you feel out in the middle is completely different. So there's no way I can tell that.
Is there a greater kind of hunger in this group now, do you think, to get it right, given we saw at Ellis Park in particular, and I guess Eden Park as well, how it can look when things do click? Yeah,
I think so. And there's always the hunger there, but I think, like I kind of touched on, like there was periods there when it was good, and there's periods where it wasn't good enough. So now the challenge is doing it consistently, weekend after weekend, and for 80 minutes. So that's the challenge, and that's where we need to get to.
What are you looking forward to bringing to this pack this week, heading into the weekend?
Just to play would be nice. As I touched on, and everyone that notifies rugby has seen, it's been patchy for the last 18 months, and through injuries that I probably almost couldn't control, is very frustrating. So I'm just looking forward to getting back out there and wanting to play my style of rugby and get back on the field really.
What do you think is going to be a big focus for the group in these training sessions leading up to the game?
Yeah, I think again just being more consistent for longer. there was periods there was good and but moments that weren't. So I think the foundations are in place, you could put it. We just need to put a little polish on it and bring it all together and then do it week in, week out.
Leadership-wise, are you sort of looking forward to getting back into that, provided your experience and alongside Sam Cane and other leaders in the group, just getting back into that for the game?
Yeah, definitely. It's when you've been out for a while, you don't want to come in and take over, but there's some great leaders within this team, and I know there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes and within the environment to get it right. So I've got no doubt that there's not enough quality leaders here that they're just taking, and I'll just jump on the back of them.
There's been a lot of talk about Ian's role and stuff, but how much responsibility lies with the players across this difficult time? Are they in the review and things like that? Are they sort of chucking their hands up and taking quite a lot of accountability? Or?
Yeah, I think there's obviously been a lot of external noise over the last month, and I've seen it from a different view of not being in the environment and bumping into people on the street and asking questions that I've got no answer for because I don't know what's going on at that level. But yeah, I think you've got the coaches have a responsibility, and so do the players, and so does the rest of the management in here. So everybody needs to own their role.
Just on the, there was a bit around the refereeing interpretations of breakdown. Did that come up in the review, and do you think you'll see a difference in terms of, say, Nick Berry refereeing this weekend, how that might change, or was there specific things you guys have to do differently?
Look, this is the first I've heard that who actually is the referee this weekend. But I mean, every referee has a different interpretation in the way they see the game, and that's right across all forms. Bunnings, Super Rugby, international level, Northern, Southern Hemisphere. So we need to adapt to that. I think. I don't see it being a real issue. We need to be accurate, and the way he sees it, you can play to that, but that's different each week. So nothing really changes. A good ball carrier looks after a ruck and a clean out. So if we get that right, then it becomes easy and presents good pitches to the referees.
Sam Cane being subbed towards the end there, what sort of impact does that have, like as a player losing a leader in those minutes at the end of the game?
Well, I wasn't there, so I'm probably not going to comment like what it affected. But at the end of the day, there's 23 players that are or there to play on a Saturday night, and there's the biggest squad. So there's trust in everybody to do their role well. So whether it's Sam or myself or whoever gets up, the responsibility of the next person is to come on and perform. So like I touched on, there's also plenty of leaders. There's a vice captain, so I don't see it having a massive effect.
Did the review touch on the option to go for the corner with a couple of minutes to go instead of banging over three, trying to get a try to win the game, or did that come up? Or?
No, that wasn't touched on.
How important to look at, kind of touched on where things didn't go well, but in that first half in particular, things seemed to click quite well, both from a forward pack perspective, but also the attack as well. Important to pull the good moments out of that first half to grow on and move on heading into Saturday?
Yeah, definitely. I think, like coming in yesterday afternoon, last night, the mood is down because of the loss, but I guess that's where the coaches have highlighted that not all is lost in terms of the overall picture, and highlighted those good moments. And as I've kind of alluded to, it's now the challenge to do those good moments for 80 minutes in each week.
What do you expect the Pumas to do differently this week, if anything, or are you just expecting them to go again? Do you think you might have been able to wear them down and making their 200 odd tackles at all? Or?
I think they've got 7 days to recover, just like we do. I mean, there'll be things that they wouldn't have been happy with and would try to execute better, but I think the focus needs to be on us and getting our job right and worry about them second.